Welcome to the 3 Minute Theologian, a theology podcast about what we believe, written by the pastors at Waukee Community Church. I'm your host, Molly Flinkman, and in this final episode of Season 1, we're asking the question, how do we study the Bible? Have you ever received a text message that wasn't intended for you? Pastor Dave once had a rather humorous text exchange in which he accidentally expressed his deep love and affection to a friend, all the while thinking he was talking to his wife. Though initially confused, his friend eventually replied with an endless stream of LOLs. Reading the Bible in the 21st century can sometimes seem like receiving a text message intended for someone else. Every biblical author wrote to a specific audience, and yet, God meant for us to read His Word. How we read Scripture is important, for while the Bible wasn't written to us, it was written for us. So how should I study the Bible? If we want to interpret the Bible correctly, we need a method that stays faithful to the author's intent. This can be summed up in the acronym COIA. C is for context. Consider the text before and after the passage. O is for observation. Take note of things like commands and repetitions and contrasts. I is for interpretation. What is the main point of the passage? A is for application. How should this change the way you live? What does this mean for you? This isn't typically how people read the Bible. It's not uncommon for someone to open her Bible and start with application, to first ask, what does this mean to me? But starting with this question is problematic. Take Philippians 4:13, for example. In it, Paul says, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. If our first question is, what does this mean to me? We might assume that we can overcome any obstacle in our path. This is why this verse gets scribbled on shoes, printed on t-shirts, and tattooed on shoulders. We want Christ to supply the strength to accomplish our goals. Now let's apply COIA to the passage. The Apostle Paul was writing to the church at Philippi. In the verse's context, we read that he is grateful for their monetary gift, and he reminds the Philippians that he has learned to be content with whatever God has given him. We observe that if Paul has ample food or if he is hungry, he is content. Paul is content through Christ who strengthens him. Therefore, Paul's original message was that the Philippians should continue to generously support his ministry, knowing amidst their sacrifice that they could trust God to meet their needs. We then interpret the passage this way. Like Paul, the Philippians too could be content with whatever God supplied. Paul's main idea about contentment is true for the Philippians and for us today. So our application becomes something like this. God doesn't promise us whatever we want. He provides the strength we need to be content with whatever He has given us. This message isn't appealing, but it is the right message. With this in mind, we can appropriately apply this passage by asking ourselves, am I content? Is Christ enough? Why is our theology about the Bible important? The Bible is the foundation for everything we know and believe about God. It is the bedrock of our faith, and it deserves to be read with care and thoughtfulness. COIA treats the Bible with the seriousness and weightiness that it deserves. The gravity of this area of theology can be summed up in our statement of faith. The Bible is to be believed in all that it teaches, obeyed in all that it requires, and trusted in all that it promises. The Bible wasn't written to us, but it was written for us.
Thank you for listening to 3 Minute Theologian, a podcast of Waukee Community Church. Season 1 has been written and produced by Pastors David Brooks and David Tank. Special thanks to our narrators, Mike Wagner, Molly Flinkman, and Peter Jaquis. Transcripts of these episodes can be found on our church website at www.waukeecommunitychurch.com. If you do not have a church and are in the Des Moines area, we invite you to join us for the worship gathering of Waukee Community Church at 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Our mission is to make disciples who live, love, and give like Jesus, and bring others together to do the same. Until next time, please like and subscribe to 3 Minute Theologian on your favorite podcast platform. We look forward to you joining us for Season 2, coming in August of 2024.